All right, everyone, welcome back. This is week 3 of our Queens College Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I've got Luigi back with me this week. He's been here actually for the last 3, but we got someone new. So instead of introducing ourselves again, we'll let Brian take a few minutes. And he's a comedian, so he's going to tell us a few jokes too. So
wait to set myself up for that one. All right.
Oh, no, Brian, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. What you do for Queens College and some of your background. Just keep it like really brief. Don't worry, we'll cut you off if you get to talking too long. Don't
worry, my introduction will just be cut right in the middle. It'll be a random jump cut.
Right now. Yep, there we go.
All right. Hello, my name is Brian. From the last episode, we've seen Victor. I'm also part of the special department of the IT, and I was also a graduate of Queens College as well.
Let's jump in. Let's jump into this week's episode topic. So the first week we talked about hardening. The second week we talked about browsing, and this week we're going to talk about Wi-Fi. Why? Because Fi. You know what? That's the best joke I could come up with. Right. Sorry. But we're going to talk about sketchy Wi-Fi and what that means. So I tell you what, Brian, go ahead and take it away. Tell us what sketchy Wi-Fi means. Why do we call it that?
So sketchy Wi-Fi is essentially networks that hackers can use that try to catch you off guard. So think of any obvious networks that you try to jump in and then they try to steal your information off it. I'm going to throw it to Luigi. You could probably throw in some examples of what could be like a sketchy Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I mean, sketchy Wi-Fi, it's like one of those, you look at the names and they always over-exaggerate, am I right? Like the whole, if it's...
Not always.
Not always.
Not always. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Keep going.
No, like Aaron says, the name itself, like, makes something appealing for the users to trick them into signing into their Wi-Fi. And a lot, they can do a lot of things with it. They can collect information. They can eavesdrop. And, I feel like, especially now how the public is, Wi-Fi is becoming very accessible to everywhere. In the city, they have public Wi-Fi. You got the typical cafes that are offering it. Now almost everybody's offering it. And, everyone's going to connect to it because, we do everything on our phones and our laptops. Aaron, you're talking about it doesn't always over-exaggerate, right?
No. Sketchy Wi-Fi is any network you can't trust. That's sort of the baseline. All right. What does that mean? So fake hotspots, clones or rogue access points, evil twins. And it's not going to be obvious because if it's obvious, you're not going to connect to it. And here's a great example. So you mentioned coffee shop. We'll call it Mom and Pop's Coffee, M&P Coffee. Okay, so you go in, you sit down, you get your cup of coffee, you're sitting there, you're loving it, and you're like, oh, I need to do some work. You pull out your laptop, you open it up, and you just happen to glance up on the counter, and it says, oh, free Wi-Fi M&P guest. Okay, so you go in, you open it up, and you open up your Wi-Fi connections. And there's 2. The first one is M and P, meaning the ampersand in the middle. And the other one's MNP, M&P. Yes. Which one is which one's the sketchy Wi-Fi? And in this case, did you bother? And which one's legit? And that is how that works. That's how, rogue access points and evil twins work. The key is they want you to click on it because they want you to think it's actually legitimate.
Sometimes they even pretend that the place has free Wi-Fi when it doesn't. So you go to a store and then you're like, maybe this place has free Wi-Fi. You look it up in the list and then you just see it there. Maybe it's not even owned by them though.
So why? I mean, let's talk about the why. We talk about what it is. We've sort of, I don't want to say beat that to death. But why do you do it? Why do we see those things out there? What is it that hackers don't do? Well, I say that. That's not entirely true.
Most of the time.
Sometimes, honestly, they're just out there to cause anarchy. But the reality is, when somebody has taken the time to set up something like this to make sure the SSDN matches, but let's talk about the why. We talked about the what it is. What's the why? Why do you think people do it?
Honestly, my opinion, it's easy. I think it's more easier to get someone's information. Nowadays, like, you can create. I seen like these little devices they can create. They could just plant them anywhere, and then there you go. They have a rogue Wi-Fi. I mean, especially
but why? Why are they doing it? So it is easy, but why? What is it they want to gain from it?
Well, when you think about it, everything you do on the Wi-Fi, it goes through that network. And if they could be the middleman, then they get everything that goes through.
Yeah. It's
so
like
what you're go ahead, Luigi.
No, I was going to say, it's like I mentioned before, we do everything on our phones or on our laptops, and we need internet. We need to rely on internet to complete our task. I mean, they could be going on they're doing their banking, shopping, things like that.
No, absolutely. So that means that now you've got potentially a man in the middle on top of that evil twin. So the evil twin is the actual access point itself, meaning it's got an SSDN that's very close. So great examples we talked about. Let's see, what was the last hotel I stayed in for something? I think it was a Comfort Inn or Clarion Inn or part of that stuff. And you go on and you see guest, you see guest 1, guest 3rd floor, guest this, guest that. It was a whole list of them. And I'm going, yeah. And I did. I went, let me turn on my hotspot because I need to log into something, and I'm definitely not connecting to any of those. The reason is because the minute you do, they can install software. They can get your login data. They can get any information you're passing. If you're buying something online, if you're, your data becomes their data. So
yeah, I mean, they're getting pretty smart. Like, for example, you know how when you log into the hotel, right? You log into their Wi-Fi, they ask for credentials or they want you to accept the terms and conditions. Hackers can make up a page. They can create a page and just
yeah. So you're talking about what fake login pages?
Yeah, that redirects them to not to a legitimate one, to their own login page, a fake one.
A recreation of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe an analogy here would be, using unsecured or sketchy Wi-Fi, as we've called it. It'd be like handing your phone to somebody unlocked.
Yeah, with no PIN
How many
code.
of us are going to do that? I mean, I know I'm not. I don't even like handing it to my kids unlocked, much less to somebody I don't know.
I mean, I always keep mine with a PIN code or passcode. Basically everything's in that phone. I never would hand it off to someone, even just to make a phone call. I'm sorry. That's how I am. Brian?
Has anybody been burned by this? I will say this. This is one of the few that I don't think I have been burned by that I know of. I tend to look at those pretty strongly. How about you, Brian?
No. I've grown up with the Wi-Fi, so I know of yeah. Unlike Aaron, I've grown up with this. I've understood to stay away from this, but I've had my fair share of explaining it to my parents or family members to
that hurt. I'm gonna take a break and go get some Metamucil and some Ensure.
Way to go, Brian.
This tells you how bad it was. As you're sitting there when saying I grew up with Wi-Fi, I was waiting on there's a TV show back before my time called The Martian, and the guy that was in it the little antennas would come up out of his head and he'd disappear. And that's exactly what I was thinking of because I saw it on reruns in the 80s. All right, so let's talk a little bit about practical steps. How can you protect yourselves from basically getting bamboozled? I couldn't think of a better word. Becoming a victim. There
Not
you go.
connecting to it.
Yeah,
the easy answer. Just don't.
Problem solved.
So we've talked. One of the first things then is talking about location. what is it? The real estate people tell you location, location, location. Airports. We talked about coffee shops, hotels, restaurants. What's the one now? The other one. Big box stores, retailers. Grocery stores. It kills me. I go into a grocery store and I'm bad. Sometimes I forgot to turn Wi-Fi off on my phone, and it'll pop up. Would you like to connect to one of these networks? And the list is this long on the screen. Here's the phone, and the list is that long on the screen, and I'm going, there can't be that many legitimate Wi-Fi networks inside this building. So. But look for things like free. Watch for networks like generic access, like free Wi-Fi, public hotspot, or my favorite are the ones where you don't see a name, you just see a number, meaning it's somebody's phone. Somebody's phone left their hotspot on, and maybe they're hoping you'll be crazy enough to connect to it. So it's 10 numbers long, and that's it. That's the name of the network. It means it's a phone.
I've even seen some that are just like a generic, it's just the service provider name. So just like T-Mobile Internet, and then just that.
Yeah.
So as part of, it's interesting, my personal network, and I won't discuss, too much what it is, but I do not use the gateway specifically for Wi-Fi. I have it set up as undiscoverable, and then I named it a name that if I see the name pop up, and then I know that somebody's messed with it to make it discoverable, because otherwise you'll never see it.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron, that's
yeah.
You're talking about it. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're right, but I just thought of another thing, Luigi, but passwords. How many times have you connected to something that doesn't require a password?
I mean, there's always a password.
Yeah, I think nowadays there's always a password, but definitely back in the days, they didn't need a password.
I have still seen them without passwords, guys.
Oh, wow.
I mean, when I was a kid, when I was living in a different home, my neighbors upstairs, they used to live in an apartment building years back. They used to have their Wi-Fis, and they used to just leave them like unlocked, no password,
wide open.
And I used to, I was a kid, I wanted to, see if I can go on the internet. I didn't want to use the LAN cable, and it would work. I mean, we're very slow, but yeah, back in the day, not everybody took advantage of that, securing their Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I can promise you they didn't. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm about to say, but I'm pretty sure like maybe a couple of months later, I think my neighbor was figuring it out because maybe it was too much traffic. Because, me and my brother were using it, and then they ended up enabling security on it.
They were learning.
Yeah.
Oh, they were figuring it out.
I actually knew somebody who went so far because you were, obviously in close proximity. And I won't name names, and no, it was not me. I will tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
It really wasn't, because when I went in, I looked at it and went, you realize if anyone finds out, you're going to get in trouble. But he had one of those long-range, high-gain antennas, directional antennas.
Oh, boy.
And he would point it at his neighbors' houses to see to see who had an unsecured Wi-Fi connection that he could connect to, so that he didn't have to pay for internet.
Dude, that's awesome, but at the same time,
it's awesome and awful at the same time.
That actually gave me the idea that I in a previous iteration, I would design and run tabletop exercises for incident response, and I did that to a client one time. That was the premise: is that somebody was able to get into their system using one of those long range antennas. And so that's just a side trivia note that, that's actually where I got the idea, was from him, from him, this person. And I won't, like I said, I'm not going to say who it is, but it's been so long ago. I'm sure the statute of limitations is, expired by now. But yeah, if you log in and it doesn't require you to put in a password or something, then it is an unsafe. But let's, what's another thing you can do to protect yourself? Maybe the three magic letters that people think is a perfect security for when you're online. Anybody?
You
Bueller?
mean like how
Bueller.
maybe the sponsor? No, not the sponsor of this video is NordVPN.
Yeah, well, they're no, they're not the sponsor of this video. Yeah, we have
No.
to make sure we say they're not the sponsor of this video.
Yeah.
But yeah, VPN. People go in, they turn on VPN, and most of your malware providers, Norton, a lot of them, they provide a VPN. I don't use McAfee, but I'm pretty sure they use one or contract to use one. The campus has one, Global Protect VPN. You use it, and yes, it does provide a significant level of security when you're using it. It does encrypt your traffic. The problem is, and this is what people they sort of forget, is if it's not your VPN, then whoever owns it can see what you're doing still. So there is still somebody that can see your data. How about, we mentioned the campus VPN. Always good to connect to it. There's a lot of things now that we've placed behind VPN, and I know a lot of people complain, but using MFA, which we've talked about before, but using that VPN, it adds layers of security. Security is never perfect. But the key is, I always say, making the nut harder to crack than the next nut down the street, because that's the nut that they're going to get.
Yeah, I use VPN all the time. I think it's a great thing. I mean, I'm not sponsoring anything. I've been using Norton's VPN. They've been pretty good. I feel comfortable when I'm in public using it. I don't have to worry about using my cellular data, because a lot of times, when you use it too much, it starts slowing down. And if I have to handle like big, projects or tasks on my personal device, and I'm not in my own home or I'm in public, then I would definitely just enable VPN.
All right, let's talk about the official campus Wi-Fi. Luigi, what are the? I know there's at least 3 that I know of on campus that are legitimate. Do you know what they are?
So I know there's the QC Secure Wi-Fi. That's for staff, faculty, and students. We have the QC Events one. That's for when we're throwing various events across campus, obviously. And then we have the QC Guest for non-QC individuals who might be, a parent or a vendor, anyone that's going to visit the campus. So,
incidentally, the QC Guest does not require a password. Just so but it does require you to click a little box that says "I have read," basically that this is an unsecure connection and I'm using it at my own risk. There is actually
Correct.
a 4th one that you didn't mention, but it's over at the Summit. It's an IoT network for them to connect IoT devices to.
Ah.
Right. So
Yep.
they have those as well.
Yeah. And
when
I have seen, just incidentally, I have seen on campus Evil Twin rogue access points.
Yeah, because campus is open. Anybody can go in, and they can start deploying their own rogue access. Try to, trick users into signing into their own Wi-Fi. But it's like what we said. The information's on the college website. If you need to, always contact help desk. Give us a call. Send us an email, asking us, which one's the correct Wi-Fi to log in. It's always good to, make sure with other people on campus. You can even ask your, see if your classmates are using it. Make sure, spread the word around. It's always good. Like, communication's key when it comes to things like that. When you're communicating with others, spreading the word, talking about things like that, it helps us keep the campus a little bit more secure. Brian, you got anything to add to that?
To be fair, when you first listed off the Wi-Fi's, I didn't even know there was a QC guest one. So definitely when looking to join a network just like that, it's best to talk with people, because if you didn't know it existed and you can't just recklessly join, it's always best to double check it.
Speaking of recklessly join, how many networks do you have that you've clicked auto connect on your machine or on your phone? That's something else. Make sure that you have that turned off.
Yeah, never. The first time I got my phone, that was one of the first things I turned off.
Yeah, I turn mine off immediately. I never leave it on, because there's always a chance that, There's a public Wi-Fi available, and it's going to connect to it automatically. And same goes onto laptops as well. It's just that not many people see it, but those are the kind of things that everybody overlooks. And then you just got to make sure that keep it off, and turn it on when you're going to use it.
Well, and like you said, talking about using your cellular data, guys, you use your cellular data. I'm not saying that your phone can't get hacked and you can't have malware and that's more secure, necessarily a more secure option, but it is a more secure option than public Wi-Fi. I will tell you, I am severely paranoid when it comes to this kind of thing. So I do not connect. I don't even connect in airports. I won't connect at Walmart. I won't connect at Target or Target if you're fancy.
I just say Target.
Yeah.
Definitely less of the more public, the more high traffic the area is, the more likely you want to stay away from that free public Wi-Fi.
All right, so let's talk about myths. Now we talked about passwords. What's one myth that we want to make sure that we haven't propagated? We did say that non-password Wi-Fi is very usually I don't want to say it's obviously a problem, but it is definitely always insecure. But just because it does have a password also doesn't mean it's secure.
Yeah, I want to add on to that. Back to the you said evil twin, people can make a fake one. The fake ones don't always have to be non-password too. So say you go to your mom and pop shop, there's a free Wi-Fi, but then even if the hacker could act like a customer to get the Wi-Fi and then just use that to recreate it.
Oh yeah, they spoofed the SSID, put in that it needs the password, and then you put the password in and you're like, oh yeah, the password worked. This must be the right one. Yeah, that's guys, they get creative. Second myth.
Yeah.
HTTPS means that I'm fine.
Absolutely not.
And do we even want to go down the route of explaining what the difference between that is, but the difference between HTTPS and secure Wi-Fi? Because you're talking apples and oranges.
No, those are like two different entities there.
Yep.
So,
all right. So we'll leave that maybe for another day, or maybe moving on somewhere else. But
I mean,
all right.
Go
ahead, Brian.
Yeah, back to what you said about the HTTPS means safe. I just reminded me that even if you join the unsafe network, or if you just join any network, no matter what you do, your information is vulnerable. So I just thought of, like, if you want to, say you're in public, you want to do something real quick, even if it's only for a moment, I feel like that's still unsafe too.
Oh yeah, it only takes the minute the minute you're connected, and that's it. You're vulnerable.
No, people would be surprised on how much data goes back and forth. It may be a second, might be nothing to you, but to a hacker, that's a gold mine.
Oh, to a computer, that's, to you a second, to the computer, it's a year.
Oh yeah.
That much time has gone, not literally a year, but you know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's another myth. Well, I'll just do it real quick. Yeah. The minute you logged in, they got all your credentials.
Yep.
All right. Couple of quick, quick tips, things like disabling file sharing, which, we talked about turning off,
I think it was in the first episode.
I think it was in the first episode, the AirDrop. Well, I couldn't think of AirDrop. I don't know why. But file sharing and AirDrop, keeping your OS updated. I know for Apple right now, for the iPhones, they just released another 18, but you can still go up, most phones from, I think it's the iPhone 11. I think it's the iPhone 11 up can handle iOS 26. I don't know what the most current Android offering is, but I know it's up there.
Well, I lost track, but I just make sure it's always on the latest version.
Just make sure you're on the latest version and turn off Wi-Fi when you're not using it. How many times are you using Wi-Fi at home? Throw your phone in your pocket, head to the store, and do what? Never check it.
And just forget it. Yeah.
Right.
And it's got that hidden benefit too, saves your battery. Not only are you reducing the risk, but you're giving the battery a little bit more life. because a lot of people don't realize when you have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, AirDrops on, that's also consuming more of the battery.
So, we've talked about some myths. We've talked about things, you can use to keep you more secure when you're using Wi-Fi. Things you shouldn't do, like don't connect to, the FBI surveillance van Wi-Fi that pops up, or the I'm just here to party Wi-Fi, or the I would definitely not steal your information, Wi-Fi.
Not even the one that's just labeled Wi-Fi.
Or the one that says,
Not even the simple ones.
my favorite, and I've known people that have. I actually know someone who had labeled their Wi-Fi. The others were humorous. I know someone labeled it "Hack me, I dare you," and they went in to try to connect to their Wi-Fi, and the SSID was changed to "Challenge accepted."
Oh, wow!
Someone got into it.
That's funny.
So.
But I
All
like
right,
Aaron. You were mentioning the FBI surveillance van. I see those a lot.
The van or the Wi-Fi?
What have you been doing?
I was going to say, what have you been doing? Should we be concerned?
With the Wi-Fi,
hold
not
on,
the van.
hold on. I'll keep him talking. Hold on.
I think I see it pulling up right now.
Oh, all right, guys. Thanks a lot. You too, Brian. You just started.
Exactly.
Oh, but people, my favorites are the like you said, Wi-Fi, or D-Link Wi-Fi, or TP-Link Wi-Fi, or Netgear, Nighthawk, and people don't bother trying to change anything. They just plug it in and go, and usually that means that you can also go in and log into it with that admin 123 password. That's right. If you flip it over, it's right there on the bottom.
All right.
If you're setting up your own Wi-Fi, we're talking, and we really didn't get into this, and we're only this is only meant to go but so long, but we've talked about connecting, but when you're setting up your own Wi-Fi, things that you wouldn't allow yourself to do in public, in the wild, like connecting to random Wi-Fis with weird names and stuff like that. Name your network something that you makes sense to you, that doesn't have to make sense to other people. Make it undiscoverable, make it so that when you connect, make it so that only certain, if you really want to get it crazy, make it so only your MAC address, it'll only recognize your MAC address and let you connect.
Also, like we said before, put a password to it, because if someone else just connects to it, they could just hack right in, and then your
most up to date,
unsafe.
the most up to date encryption on it.
I
think we're up to
covering home
WPA3
routers,
now.
right? Home networks.
Well, we were really talking about sketchy Wi-Fi, but it occurred to me like, hey, what's the opposite? What's the flip on that coin? The flip side of the coin is you're setting your own Wi-Fi up. So. A couple of quick sort of 3 golden rules here. Let's wrap this up and think before you connect. Verify, trust but verify. Verify before you trust in this case.
Trust it.
And when in doubt, use your own data. It's simple. Go ahead, turn your phone, and if you're going to turn your phone's hotspot on, make sure you've got a password for it so other people can't get in, and then potentially you're dealing with a whole other problem.
Not to mention, if it's not that urgent, you could probably wait till you get home or to a secure spot to do whatever it was that you wanted to do.
Patience is key.
Absolutely. So we've talked about spotting sketchy Wi-Fi. If you're watching this, you're watching it on YouTube, go ahead and like it and drop a comment. Tell us the craziest Wi-Fi name you think you've seen, or if you're the one that hacked the I dare you. Go ahead and let us know that was you too.
Yeah, we're just curious.
I mean, I'm sure if any of you are in public right now,
what's that?
You could just. I'm saying if any of the viewers are in public right now, I'm sure they could just open see what Wi-Fi is nearby, and probably you could spot a few right there.
All right, so this has been week 3. We've got one more week that we're going to be provide. We have another video that's going to come out in week 4, and that's going to be the end of our cybersecurity awareness month. But Brian, we appreciate you being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
We look forward to potentially having you and other things that we do, and seeing you being involved in security here at Queens College. Luigi, get back to work.
All right, I'll see you guys.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
And the FBI van is waiting for you on your way out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why he's telling me to go to work.
He's leaving right now.
Okay. Who's knocking?
But no, everyone, thanks for joining us again. Like it, we'll have more information coming. Watch for emails from us. If phishing occurs on campus, we'll send out emails. If you think you've dealt with something, reach out, put a ticket in. Again, drop us a comment. Let us know the craziest Wi-Fi that you've seen out in the public. And as always, let's think secure, everybody. And thanks for watching this week's episode.